Video, I'm going to tell you why you should not train for looks and you should train for the next 40 years. If you don't know who I am, my name is Joshua Costa. I'm a fitness coach and I help busy people get in shape and live long, happy, strong lives. Okay, so the truth is that you should train for the next 40 years, not the next photo. So for the last 10 years or 10 to 15 years of my career in the fitness industry, I trained for one thing only, and it was purely about how my physique looked. Okay, so I used to get in shape for photo shoots, used to get in shape for like just the beach holidays, or just purely for my acting career as well. I used to be an actor on the West End stage, and I used to perform in front of thousands of people on a regular basis. So my appearance mattered to me. Your body was your product, but with that came at a cost. Essentially, without training, for anything else, I trained focused purely on my looks, which means that I didn't really train for function. I trained for the maximum pump you could get. I trained for making sure that I was progressively overloading on in the gym, but not necessarily in areas that mattered for mobility or actual strength or speed or power. It was purely just a bodybuilding style of training. When it came to cardio, cardio was used as a format of fat loss, and that was it. If I got on the cardio machine, whether that was a Stairmaster or the treadmill, it was about burning calories at a rate that wasn't too crazy intense, but it was burning it over 30, 40, 60 minutes at a time to just burn a certain amount of calories. It wasn't really about getting fitter or actually getting healthier as such. It didn't matter to me. Whereas now that I'm turning 35, I want to focus on how I train for the next 40 years. And the reason being is that most of us train to look good. In your 20s, you can get away with that. But in your 30s and 40s, it's costing you, because you're not accounting for how you're going to get off the toilet seat. You're not accounting for wanting to keep up with your children. Sure, you might be able to lift them up. If you focus on just lifting weights, you're still, protecting what we know as like the longevity muscle, if you like. Muscle, we don't want that to atrophy. We want that to, grow and like stay in a certain condition so that when you get older, you're still strong and mobile in that respect. But you're still not focusing on, actual mobility, stretching, protecting your joints, etc. You want to make sure that you're focusing on these things. But you also want to focus on things like heart health. You want to think about health in general, metabolically. Are your bloods okay? Is your cholesterol high? Is your blood pressure okay? These things that we don't necessarily think about in our 20s because we feel like we've got time. But when you get to your 30s and 40s, you have to start thinking about these sort of things. Because if you don't, by the time you're in your 50s, you're in trouble in many ways that you think, right? So it's really important that you start thinking about this now, especially if you're in your 30s. Okay, so train for the next 40 years. And what does that look like? There are 5 key principles that you should focus on. Number 1 is keep the muscle, add the athlete. Now, I'm not asking you to be a professional athlete. Professional athletes, their schedules is that they live, they breathe, and it's literally their job and their desire and their dream to be the peak of their powers in whatever athletic discipline that they do, right? But what I am asking you is to think of yourself as a lifestyle athlete. And if you are serious about living long and living a high quality of life, not just your lifespan, but also your health span as well, then you need to focus on keeping muscle, but then adding the athlete. Keeping muscle is really simple. You need to lift weights 2 to 3 times a week minimum to make sure that you are reminding your muscles to stick around, right? So you can have a bodybuilding split, you can have a typical training split that is quite athletic, but it still enables you to produce hypertrophy over that period. So if you were training, say, 2 times a week, you're looking at 2 times full body in the gym, about 45 minutes lifting weights. You would focus on certain movements. You're looking at a push, a pull, a hip hinge, a squat, and a vertical pull and a vertical push. Done, right? If you do that twice a week with moderate weight within the rep ranges of, say, 6 to 20 reps on these exercises, you don't need to do that many stuff. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Do that alone. Then essentially you will progress from there. And by the way, if you're unsure of how to do that, the link in the description below is 30 days, 30 ways to live a strong and build a strong body and a strong life. If you want access to that, it's free, it's easy access. All you do is get daily emails from me for the next 30 days, and it'll show you exactly how to do that. The link is in the description. Also, if you are interested in actually having me as a coach, then also link in the description as well. Cool. So keep the muscle. That is actually really easy. 2 to 3 times a week, go to the gym, lift weights, etc. Add the athlete. Now, this is also going to the gym, but it is also making sure that you're focusing on doing your warm-ups, stretching. Are you adding in some sort of plyometrics? One of the key things, ask yourself, when was the last time you sprinted full whack? Ever? It might have been when you was a child, before you met your partner, before anything like that happened, before you met your first sexual partner. So we're talking maybe 16, right? If you're 30, that's nearly half your life that you haven't sprinted. And that's very common for a lot of people. If you, when was the last time you jumped? Like actually jumped, like really as high as you can without worrying about your joints? This is where the athlete comes in. So I'm not talking about you being a professional athlete and doing professional athlete things, but you need to start thinking of yourself as a lifestyle athlete. So the programs that I design for my clients, it's going to include a bit of movement. It's going to include a bit of dynamic movement, a bit of jumping, a bit of sprinting, a bit of stretching, so that it's well-rounded, so that you can actually produce these sort of things. But also being fitter, being healthier. So it's not just a boring workout split where you look at a program that you get and you are just doing full body exercises, A to B, very dull, very monotonous, and you're not doing anything about it. This is where we add the athlete. And you want to maintain that, like I said, for the next 40 years. I'm going to stop tapping the board. It's just a little bit of a cool thing for me. So yeah, keep the muscle, add the athlete. Number 2, earn the right to train hard. What I mean by that is making sure that you are focusing on your recovery as well. You're focusing on recovery, you're focusing on your nutrition, you're making sure that you are looking after yourself outside of the areas of just going to the gym and going ham at it, right? You need to earn the right to train hard. If you're not looking after yourself, if you are drinking too much, if you're not getting enough sleep, if you are constantly stressed, if you are constantly doing all these things, that is just not going to be effective for you to maintain training at a good level, then this needs to be addressed, okay? So from a dietary perspective, making sure that you're eating enough fiber for your gut health, making sure that you're eating enough protein so that your muscles can repair and be strong, making sure that you're eating carbohydrates maybe around your training, and making sure that you're in a calorie-controlled diet and drinking plenty of water and fluids, etc. These things are core discipline things from a nutritional point of view, but then also making sure that you are sleeping. You know, you're getting enough quality sleep. 6 to 7 to 8 hours minimum of sleep, quality sleep a night. Now I average between 6 to 7 hours of sleep, but essentially making sure that that's high quality. I wear a band. You don't have to track your sleep as such, but you should keep a measured approach with regards to how much sleep and how much quality sleep you're getting. This tracker bit, it's the new Google Fitbit. It enables me to track my sleep quite nicely. It's really cheap. I don't have to pay a membership or anything like that, but it tells me what my quality of sleep is looking like. And to be quite frank, I quite like it. That way, I'm looking after my sleep. If I am stressed, I'm writing things down. I'm writing things down about what stresses me out. You'd be surprised at like how much of a positive effect that has on people when you actually do that, when you actually take the stress that you're carrying and offload it, because then it actually presents you an opportunity for you to work past it or offload it and get used to it, or even be able to openly communicate with your other half. Okay, so making sure that you do these things: recovery, stress, eating right, earn the right to train hard. Okay, number 3, Measure what matters. Now, one of the things that has, over the last 11 years of being a coach, is the difference between a successful client and a non-successful client is those that track and measure what actually matters on a regular basis. Not only do they check in with me on a regular basis, they check in with me every single week to make sure that whatever's gone on in the week, whether that's been good, positive, or in the middle, we are aware of all of those things and we are tracking that on a regular basis. It does seem like you're, having major things of control over your life, but you actually need an element of that in order for you to make massive amounts of progress. Okay. No one made progress accidentally, sustainably over a long period of time in anything, whether that's your career, whether that's your relationships, whether that's just tracking money, whether that's tracking your weight or anything like that. You need to be able to measure what actually matters. In my coaching business, where I help clients, they are tracking their body weight on a regular basis. They're tracking what they eat. They are tracking their lifts and tracking their progress. They're tracking their recovery. They're making sure that they're doing these things that enables them to actually analyze what's actually going on in their lives. But we also track what is happening in their personal lives because that matters too. So making sure that you measure what matters. And if you don't do that, these two are redundant because you don't actually know if these are working. Okay, guard your mind. Now, I like the 1-1-1 strategy with this. It enables you to, like I said before, you will get stressed in life, especially if you're in your 30s above. You've got countless amounts of responsibilities and they're compounding over time, right? You've got the government telling you this, you've got your son or daughter telling you this, or both at the same time. You've got the expectations from your job, your partner, for yourself. You're getting news about your family members not being well or whatnot, You have to guard your mind like it matters so much. And that doesn't mean that you have to be selfish. There is a degree of selfishness in order for you to attain this on a regular basis. But if you guard your mind, you're protecting the best part of you that enables you to actually be productive for the whole thing to work. Okay. There was a point when I was training for looks that I wasn't guarding my mind. I was basically just being selfish. And I was guarding my mind from everything else, but I was just solely focused based on this. If you want all of this, to train for longevity, to train to look good, to feel good, to do good on a regular basis, you need to guard your mind. So write things down. The 1-1-1 strategy is basically write at the end of the day or part of your day where you were grateful for one moment. You write one thing where you found it a little bit tense or like not necessarily a negative, but a moment of kind of stillness where you go, wasn't sure about that. And then, or it caused anxiety. And then you can be one promise to yourself or one win for the day. Count those three things up, 1-1-1, and then you could move on the next day and doing that again and again. And it helps you actually build the muscle of your mind, build the muscle of your mental health, which doesn't get spoken about enough. Okay, so make sure you guard your mind and start now. The deposit rule. So no matter where you are, if you're watching this video, don't worry about thinking, oh, I need to start later. When? Start now. If you've not had a gym membership before, find a way to get a gym membership. If you don't have access to a gym, do you have access to any equipment that you can work out at home? Do you have your own body to do body weight exercises, to do some stretches? Do you have a pen and paper to start writing things down? Do things early so that you can invest in yourself early so that you can get the better investment over time, especially when we're talking about the next 40 years. Okay? We're not talking about the before and after photo. We're talking about you in 40 years' time, that you've started looking after yourself now, and therefore when you're 70, you're in a fantastic fucking position. Okay? You are, praying and hoping that we are gifted enough to live that long. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, you are capable of being in control of actually protecting yourself and pushing yourself forward. Okay? And it starts now by putting tiny deposits in the bank every single day. Okay? So that's the video. That's the lesson for today. If you are unsure of where to start, like I said, link is in the description. 30 ways, 30 days to build a strong body and a strong life. That's going to help you without a shadow of a doubt. If you're looking to take this to the next level, DM me the word fit on Instagram. My Instagram description will be below, or you can just apply to booking a call with me and we'll have a chat. It will be myself, you and I just having a chat about how I can help you. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 11 years now, and I know what I'm talking about. And I'm changing course. This is a video almost to myself, but also for you guys who are similar to me. That's essentially who I've always helped. People who've got the same pains or worries or struggles, and just basically helping them move forward in their lives. And this is where I'm putting my focus, and I want you to put your focus too.